and gentlemen, we move on to our next session. Our relentless sessions chairperson is waiting eagerly for his turn. Ladies and gentlemen, this session is on technology and innovation in the cashew ecosystem globally. Our moderator for this session is Mr. Srivatsava Ganapathy of CashewInformation.com. Let's give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. A powerhouse of knowledge as far as the cashew commodity is concerned globally. Can we have a look at the video?
As the name suggests, Mayur is colorful and so is its behavior. It is powered by nanovision technology dedicated to identify cashew nuts by size, color, shape and surface characteristics. Output from peeling machine can now be directly graded and can be exported. Mayur gives customizable 7 grades for size and color. With 200 kilograms per hour capacity, you can easily grade over 3 tons of cashews per day. Nanosorter Mayur is truly the next generation grading machine in the industry. No more dependency on labor, no more grade inconsistency. One machine for all your grading needs. Nanosorter Mayur by nanoPix.
Customers who have higher capacity can now grade their cashews through newly designed integrated conveyor systems where bulk cashews are graded with Mayur machines. Cashews are seamlessly put in different machines and graded cashews are collected together. Nanosorter Mayur can be programmed to keep synchronized grading across machines, which ensures consistent output to our customers. Now, large processing can be done with optimum workforce and utilize shop floor space effectively. The automation further takes care of hygiene standards necessary for grading.
So ladies and gentlemen, with this, we complete a peek into the technology capabilities of our participants in this panel. As our sessions chairperson is already on the stage, I would like to start our panelists on the stage, starting with the director of Cashew Machine Vietnam, Mr. Truong. As he takes his place up on the podium, I'd like to invite the CEO of nanoPix ISS Pvt Ltd, Mr. Sasisekar K. Also inviting on the stage from TAIHOUNICORN, India, Mr. Vasant Barkade. And finally, Mr. J.C. Reddy, the head manufacturing and technical for edible nuts, Vink Corporation, DMCC. Ladies and gentlemen, with all our technology innovators and drivers on the panel now, I leave this session in the hands of Mr. Srivatsava Ganapathy.
Thank you for joining us in this session. We are going to have a slightly different version. It's going to be entirely question and answer session. So you're free to post your questions. After 2-3 rounds of questions, which we have already prepared, we will open the session for your questions. The idea is to learn from these experts what we are doing right, what can be done differently, how we can collaborate and take this industry forward. So first I want to ask the technology providers, what is that they are focusing on right now? And what has been the company philosophy and how it has evolved as the industry grew? This is the first question. Maybe I'll start with Ethan. He's the most successful person in Africa. He's there in pretty much every part of West Africa. So he's doing a phenomenal job there. Ethan, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. And I am Ethan Truong from CMV Cashew Machine Vietnam. So we are the leading of manufacturing machinery, and in 2025, we are more focusing in the calibration to get more percentage of accuracy to reduce the uncut and the backcut in the shelling machine. And we also improvement of the spare part in the shelling machine. Like before, we have to change the spare part after 2 or 3 months. And now we are successful with some consumable spare part we can use up to 1 year for India and Africa, because the challenge to keep the stock in other countries is not easy. And the trend now is improve the color of the kernel to make the premium quality. So we are under construction to prepare for the new humidifier and dryer to get a good color. And the final is how to improve the quality of the kernel after peeling to reduce the percentage of peeling mineral. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Sashi, the same question to you.
I am
What
Sashi.
is the area that you are working on right now? I know you would be working on several areas. And what has been your company philosophy and how it has evolved as the industry evolved over the last 15 years?
So I am Sasisekar. I am CEO of nanoPix. We make grading machine for Cashew. We have been doing that for 12 plus years. We have about 15 years of technology development experience in Cashew grading alone. Our focus all the while as philosophy has been Cashew as a kernel. Every kernel gets more value than what it can actually at the current position get. How we can improve the value of every Cashew kernel, by which overall a processor gets more benefit out of processing the same raw material, selling it to the same market. Okay, so our focus has been in terms of image processing based technologies. We have developed various grading machines addressing different segments of the market. We have more than 1,600 installations around the world in 10 plus countries. Machines do run like 7 plus years. We have sufficient record of that, and 10 plus years, there are customers still using our machine. We have a very established service framework, 50 plus engineers all around India and world who are providing service across. So that's who we are. Our machine has been adopted into Cashew flow in terms of adaptation from when the industry was completely manually graded to where it is heading towards is completely automated, artificial intelligence based system. So this entire migration our product has gone through. That being said, who we are, our current thought process, our thinking is beyond this. So way back 12 years back when artificial intelligence was not a word that was commonly used, we used AI technology for implementing Cashew grading, which was very unique then. So today, our thought process is way beyond that. We are looking at market intelligence as a key. What are the major concerns of a processor today is not accurate grading. Their concern is my raw material price is fluctuating. I don't know the quality of the raw material I've got in my godown. I have a market that's fluctuating in pricing, especially in India where season off season the price goes significant 20-30% variation. And am I efficiently processing? Not just one process matters, every process matters. And then finally, am I making money or not is known end of the day rather than right now when I'm making a decision. So as a processor, the biggest stress for a processor is how am I making the decision? So if somebody is asking a kernel at $3.1 a pound, how am I going to ensure that I am profitable when I am supplying this at this contract? How am I going to sustain? How am I going to sign up for a price during season, off season? How am I going to sustain in India market for the quality and the demand that it is going to generate? So these are market driven and external driven conditions. This is the highest stress of a processor, and processing and machinery and its efficiency becomes a next one rather than the highest priority. So we are putting our intelligence into our machine, our technology into the machine to be able to address these. So that is something like, can I do a composition of cashew that will meet AFI standards and still meet customer pricing? Can I do a composition by which the appearance of the cashew is very nice and still I am able to meet the target price of the customer for an Indian market? Is it possible for me to be able to create value out of segregation in a specific grade by which I can further value process it for a higher turnout on the kernel? So these are the few examples of how value raise on the same kernel can be done, is the area in which we are doing our research on.
Thank you, Shashi. I think from the very inception, adding value to kernels has been your core focus, if I understand you right. Thank you very much. We will come back to you in the second round. Mr. Vasant, over to you.
Yeah, I'm Vasant. I represent TAIHOU in India. For the last 10 years, I have been with TAIHOU, and what TAIHOU has given to the industry is significantly AI tool can be used in grading. So what I mean by this is, currently the major problem for cashew industry was the grading department. You can raise your capacities in cutting section, you can raise your capacity in peeling section, but the major bottleneck was coming to grading section. And for the I spoke to the TAIHOU people. They have brought an significantly AI-based model wherein whatever the market is having a requirement of a great quality, that can be given through this machine. So our vision for the next couple of years would be whatever comes from the machine should be marketable. You need not do much of labor work or rechecking on that output and waste your manpower on doing manual work. So whatever comes from the machine should be marketable. Similarly, the next few years we would be working on pieces also, because in Indian market pieces are of a high value, and those segments require huge manpower. So next few years we'll be focusing on pieces grading also. Thank you.
That's the first round of questions for the three of them. I'll come to Mr. J.C. Reddy a little later. But what we did before coming to this, we asked several processors. We asked processors in Vietnam, India, Africa to list down the major challenges when it comes to technology and technology adoption. And as one would expect, the kind of challenges for each of these origins were different. But the first thing when it comes to core processing is peeling. You did mention, Ethan, about peeling. What is the current challenge in peeling? Can you help us understand, and what is that you are trying to do to overcome that?
So currently we are still using the drum and the brush to separate the skin, and after that it pass the air peeler to get the whole kernel. So some buyer like frame and quality, they not allow for the brush to impact or mark on the kernel because of the brush. So that's why in India you still use a lot of air peeler, like the garlic machine. And in Vietnam now, even the brush is rich, it will be break, or the metal will mix with the kernel. That's why you need more machine for X-ray methane detector even. And the unpeeled still high, like more than 10%. Especially in Nigeria, more than 30%. So we are still innovation and find a solution, maybe another years to make more efficiency.
I think Shakti is here. Like in 2023, the same question was asked, and there was one more question to that. How long would it take to resolve that? And at that time, I heard people say 2 years. Maybe in 2 years we'll be able to. Now we are in 2025. How close we are to solving this problem of peeling, or we are still far away?
Actually, before we thinking about the innovation, the new technology, we have to think about how the end user will accept our machine, how many quantity we can supply to the market, and.
No, I'm not saying as CMV, but generally as a technology, as an area of problem or a challenge to be solved.
So
what do you feel like, how close we are towards solving this problem of partial peel, for example?
Yes, actually in last 10 years, we don't have any new technology in the peeling.
But have you seen some improvements?
Yes, so 24, we just improved the capacity from 300 ton up to 300 kg per hour up to 600 kg per hour. But we need another 2 or 3 years to get the new things.
That's right, that's right. So
I would like to add on this. Currently there are two principles of peeling. One is the Vietnam model brush system, and there is a pneumatic air drum model in Indian system. Both of them have been adopted across globe. But if we identify the peeling process, it is not just peeling. We need to humidify and again dehumidify the process. So the major challenges for any factory would be combining of all the, if we reduce the three processes, we will reduce at least 1 day of work day. So any process which we can develop in a way that kernels are put through conveyor and you will get a peel nuts out of the conveyor. So this system of working would be the boon for the industry. And my background for the last 10 years, I'm also working in cashew manufacturing field. We have got our own brand as a Delta in India. To add this, we have developed a hybrid model of Vietnam and Indian peeling machine, and we are confident of reducing the peeling time by half a day. So that would be soon be possible in 2025 itself.
Okay, so there's been an efficiency improvement is what I hear. So he mentioned, Ethan mentioned two major challenges, the finish because we use brush, and then partial peeling. When you have this hybrid system, are you able to overcome the first challenge in terms of finishing? Yes. Okay, that's a good news.
We can work on that model.
But in terms of partial peeling, we are still some way to go.
Yeah, partial peeling, if we identify both kind of nuts, we have got soft peeling and hard peeling. So if the brush model is introduced for the hard peeling, I think we can get a better result on it.
Even for Nigerian nut, which you said, like,
yeah, because I tried this model in India for my customer, I got around 95% peeling, which was more satisfactory than what I was seeing in last 5 to 6 years.
But yeah, you wanted to add something. Yeah.
Because in India, you have good markets, domestic markets for the slave, like the pieces. But in Vietnam and Africa, if we reduce 1% broken, with much profit than 1% of the unpeeled. So that's why
Now, this is the right time to bring the expert here. Mr. J.C. Reddy has operated the plant in Vietnam, India, Africa. Your perspective on peeling. Or I would start with a little differently. When you have, right now, for example, your Benin plant, it's a single origin plant, can I say that? So you have a technology which is being put in place to deal with the single origin nut. And you have plant in India or you have plant in Vietnam, so which used to operate or which used to handle multiple origins. So just take us through this, this unique challenges in the single origin or in a place like Africa, like, say Ivory Coast or Benin, and vis-a-vis like, Vietnam, India.
Thank you for that. Good afternoon, everyone. So, prior to going to on a specific issue like what exactly in peeling, so just we want to just brief it up our own experience, what we have learned, and our group companies, how we have operated in multiple origins. So, if you look into the automation, mechanization, you can say, or maintenance management, or productivity, or what you can capacity utilization, versus there are two independent factors are there. The factor number one is the automation versus origination. Number two is automation versus destination market. Then origination, when you talk about the automation versus origination, within the origination, again, there is two independent factors. Factor one is a single origin. Factor two is a multiple origin. Like, for example, entire African countries, you are aware, just they operate the single origin. So the machine settings will be uniform. The entire throughout 12 months, you are going to run a single origin. Though most of your maintenance headaches, what exactly you are facing in multi-origin locations like India and Vietnam. So that problem is set off. And when you come to, again, multi-origin operations, we have two independent factors. The way what Vietnam operates, how Indian plants operates. The Vietnam plant operates on a single standards, or you can say standardization. Like, for example, today Africa as well as Vietnam operates one single standard called A5 guidelines, or in olden days we used to call it the CEPC guidelines. So that's how those plants used to operate. So across the 12 months, we are running through one standards of the uniformity. On contrast, India has so much of complexity. Not only the country operates on multiple origins, it does a standalone standardization. For example, standalone parameters. Neither they follows AFI guidelines, nor India follows the CEPC guidelines. It follows such guidelines, which is a tailor-made. There are 10 biscuit factories comes with the 10 different standards. The 10 wholesalers comes with the 10 different standards. So you require that expertise, how to satisfy each and every customer. Someone asks very crispy, like a 3.2% of a moisture. Someone even rejects even 0.1% of a tester. So the overall complex India is very cumbersome and very tough. There were the companies who are running to 84, 85 grades. There were companies who are running to 27 grades. So that is where the total all difference. So if you look into the overall automation ambiguity, please look into India exclusively separately. Don't just merge with other operators and get confused. So they think that India prices are something, for example, 750 rupees you are selling. Why same premium you are not getting? That is not the case. So when we are expecting from the customers also, we have to look into that, how Indian factory has to operate, meeting a unique tailor-made specifications of independent customers. One want a whitish kernel, and for example, a lot of people may not aware. So for example, within WW320, Vietnam have one WW320 and entire Africa runs in one WW320. India runs WW320, W320, A320, S320, and M320 and E320. So like that, every grade you multiply it based on the value generation concept. It's a very complex thing to compare to that, but definitely we took a lot of adoption, understanding of the both nations. Now we are very successful in African operations. We are very decently successful by localization of the Indian expertise, Indian requirements. We learnt well, and we are able to manage both. Yeah.
Right. So my understanding is that technology choice is not so easy. It's a function of where you're operating and which market segment you are catering to. Is that right?
100%. The automation and engineering and maintenance, what all I was talking about it, is much relevant to the where exactly you are operating it.
So now, having understood the broad concept and philosophy in which you operate, let's come back to the specific question what we were dealing with. Do you also face peeling, issues around peeling? So, in, let's say, single origin, as well as in places where you handle multiple origin?
So at exactly our manufacturers expressed of peeling, there is a variation from 7% of a partial peel to 35% of a partial peel. This is the how overall. You cannot generally stick this subject. For example, East African nuts may be 7 to 10% of a peelability challenges, and some West African nuts may throw even 35% of a peeling. That's the first phase of understanding. In for example, olden days when Brazil was operating something oil roasting, hardly there is any peeling challenges. So the oil roasting technology itself peels out the most of the material, including Nigerian hard peel also, it can remove it out.
But that comes at the cost of color?
So it's cost a lot on the color, extremely sets to the roasters of Europe and US, and India it's impossible that we can adopt that process because color is so critical factor in India.
So if somebody is tolerant to color, they can still go for that
Still go for that, but manufacturingly, if you look into a oil roasting of a very massive structure, it looks, safety factors are quite challenging, and you have to run to the oil to the very high temperature, and those one thing, and definitely it changes the color. A lot of people felt that it's not required. Since steam bathing is helping us to bring down very close to 80% of the holes today in Vietnam and as well as in Africa. So it's well enough to go with the steam bathing. Now I think oil roasting almost all is out of the picture.
So what I hear from you is that given the technology choices which you have chosen, peeling is an issue today, no matter where we are. As the machinery manufacturers said, it would take 2 to 3 years. As a practitioner, where do you see this one? Would it remain? Would we still have to go for manual peeling? Or would technology find a solution?
Actually, the peeling, when we do a manual peeling, for example, 18 years back, when I started my career in this industry, so it's 100% manual peeling across all the world, at least in India. So at that time, 80% holes getting was very easy and it was very comfortable. Today, what happening? The machines are done first pass, second pass, third pass. Then the what has been partially peeled become a super hard peeled. That means that the testa, leftover testa, was hard pressed on the kernel. Never ever you can replace that. So removing the testa by manual intervention is the only one and only option what we have that will give a kind of scrapes into the product. So that's the reason where the scrapes is an issue.
Right, that settles this peeling at this point in time. We will move to the other area. One other issue when we went and asked people from the ESG point, yes.
I'd like to add a point, or a viewpoint from on the peeling perspective. Primarily, as JC sir mentioned, when we were doing oil roasting, there was not a major issue about peeling at all, even for Nigerian nuts. It's primarily because of the method by which the drying actually happens when the oil roasting happens. So the internal kernel, the way they lose the moisture. A methodology by which a similar simulation of the same type of heat transfer can provide kernel an ability to peel by itself, or with very little gentle force, it can actually peel off. So, and there is also exploration on the enzyme method of peeling that has been used in other nuts that is being also to be explored, which needs a lot of investment. So, we are operating in an industry where there is no consortium that has a large fund that can park on R&D on peeling or R&D on cutting or wherever it is. So whatever the means and process that equipment manufacturer can approach is the only possibility through which innovation is actually reaching the industry. If that can change, a lot of things will change in the peeling itself.
Thank you. Slide here. I wanted to ask one other problem which experts talked about is the sound pollution and the noise levels, the noise levels and then the dust and noise. CMV, have you Do you feel there is a problem around the calibration area? Like, you know, there's high level of noise, lot of dust, and is there any innovative ways you have tried solving some of them?
Yes, sir. Well, we are thinking about the power consumption and the noise since long time. So the solution now, which one we can use by conveyor, we will use conveyor to reduce the power of the motor and the noise also. And for the dust in the calibrator and the peeling, we make the big collection outside, and then we collect on to the small room, and then we do to remove
So
it.
last 10 years, how has been the power consumption per, let's say, like, you know, whatever metrics you want to use per metric ton of raw cashews, either on input basis or output basis, for the technologies which you have provided? Have you seen that coming down, or it has remained the same?
To compare with around 5 years ago, to pay the same power consumption, you can increase the bowl capacity. That's what we try.
Vasant, you want to add something?
Yeah, with regards to the pollution, sound or dust, it is morely specific to RCN calibration, because the nuts are dry and the length or the footprint of grader is around 30 or 40 feet. So it can be controlled. We need just canopies over there, and if the buyer is willing to invest in, we can build those soundproof RCN calibrators also.
JC sir, for you, like, you know, is it a problem, first of all? And if it is, what you are doing?
Definitely, sound pollution or dust together, definitely a problem. And that too, a food processing industry, dust is a most often critical criteria. And dust is another biggest problem. It is one of the generator of the infestation. More and more dust deposits in the plants, different locations. General infestation enter into the dust. First interesting. So if you look into on sound side, the biggest maximum sound comes from what exactly I was saying, that it comes from the sizers. Second sound majority comes from the shell aspiration. When you're lifting the shell, that's the air sound is very huge. And the vibro, whenever the vibro decks are there in the shelling, that is also gives a very massive sound. And the fourth one is from the peeling, when you are sucking the dust from the peeling machine also gives sound. So now there is a lot of silencing system also entered now, even for vibro system also, we are putting a silencers, it's coming a sound. And you can use the rubber pads also, most of the shelling decks, to reduce the sound. And on the sizer side, we can isolate the sizers, or you can put a kind of panels, for a sandwich panels, roofing out it. That is also you can arrest the sound. We have a provisions, so absolutely we can applicable based on the financial and other things. But there are solutions to minimize the a bearable sound. And third most important thing is better avoid the women workers away from these noises. So better isolate them into a separate section where they will not have thing, and ensure that a limited workforce works in a noise places with the ear muffs and other thing, what generally we used to use it. You can better isolate the workforce from the shelling sections and dust creating sections. Yeah.
Right. Now I could have one question for Sashi and Vasant on grading, because I'm just taking from what Mr. J.C. Reddy said before, that technology choices are made based on where you are and which market you are serving. It's also well understood that grading is not well appreciated in terms of higher values in some markets. So how do you address this? How do you communicate the benefit of your solution to some of the markets which is not yet? Because how many processors from Africa right now here in this hall have grading machines? Right? How many don't have? How many don't have grading machines? Yeah? Yes. Right? So, again, you are convinced that grading, both of you have said that when grading is a way to add value, where is the connect missing?
See, the value comes from the end buyer for the processor, not from our machines.
Okay.
We need to accept that first. Is the machine developed targeting a standard, or is the machine developed targeting a set of customers, or is it the machine developed just to ensure, that the buyer has some machine that he will have to use. So our principle, or rather from the day one when nanoPix entered into Cashew industry, nanoPix was into image processing technology business before, and it entered Cashew industry specifically with bringing this philosophy on table that adding value to every kernel matters. How is that is completely dependent on the end buyer market, not based on what the machine can do and not based on what the processor would like to do. So if there are markets within India also where they are preferring entire kernels of all size be mixed and then it be provided, as long as it is defect free, it's actually Cashew to be sold. As well as there are very strict buyers who want less than 1.5 or 2% brokens in the final produce that has reached their godown. So this is the kind of segregation within the market that is there. As JCs mentioned before, it is the buyer who decides what grading is required, and that's exactly the philosophy we come up with. Our technology was always evolving based on what our customer need, rather than what is defined in some books or what is defined in some structure and manual.
Thank you. Vasant, your take.
Yeah. Now, Cashew is not just a local product, it's a global product. So, like JC said, we can't specify a machine, we can design a machine or program a machine to work globally on the same parameters. So, in this, what we have developed in TAIHO AI machine is we use data. So, whatever is the requirement of customer, like Shashi said, in India there are few markets where we segregate only white holes into a grade called WMix, holes mix. So that is a big pocket. It has come around in India market for the last 5 to 6 years. But since what customer want is, he wants to reduce the manpower, he wants that whatever kernels that machine is giving, it should be marketable. These are only these two requirements. If a manufacturer like us develops a machine wherein both these two parameters are matched, then only we can be successful and we can add value to him. So yes, we surely work on data, we surely work on AI, which will eventually help the industry to evolve. And these machines are actually working toward benefiting of customers in terms of value, in terms of reducing the cost, in terms of reducing the manpower.
Right. We have 2 questions. I think, those questions, please contact Mr. JC Reddy off the stage. Maybe we will take that one later. Relevant questions, but I would rather focus on one major issue before we close the session. We are running out of time. First, I will ask the technology suppliers, what cooperation or support do you expect from the processors? What cooperation or support do you expect from governments where you are operating? There are 2 parts to this question. And once you finish that, maybe I would request Mr. JC Reddy, from a processor point of view, if he is providing some support already, to share some insights on that, or what he is willing to provide more. So, because any development or technology cannot happen in isolation, we need processor support. So therefore, you may start with what's the existing level of support and what more you need from the other processor and also from the government. Be brief. You can.
Yes, sir. So come back to my point. Before we do the innovation and the new technology, we will see how many machines we can sell to the market and how the end user, they will buy our machine. So that means we need to keep the communicate what is the trend in next 3 years, next 5 years, and we will find a way how to reduce the cost of manufacturing. And we need somebody to able to run trial our machine to give the feedback. That's all, I think. And
are you not getting that? Are you not getting the support of the processors for doing trials? What more you need in that? You must be definitely getting the support of the processors.
Yes,
right?
sir. So even myself, now I also do processing. So that's the best way to get the feedback by myself.
Can I say that one that is typical of every Vietnam manufacturers? Yeah. They are themselves processors?
Of course, sir.
Okay.
And
And what is the support you expect from the government? Let's say you are in Ivory Coast, you are in various parts of West Africa.
That's correct. We really need the support from the government in Africa about the tax import, the duty free. Like in IVC, now we have the service center in Yamoussoukro, but we have to pay up to 60% of the tax import.
So let me get this clear. So if you want to keep stock, you need to import, pay duty, and keep it in your warehouse. And the duty levels are 60%.
Correct. That's only the tax import, and another extra duty free is another more than 20%. So it's the big challenge for us to keep our service in Africa.
Perhaps one recommendation can be made that you are ready to pay that at the point of sale. Maybe you can keep it in a bonded warehouse kind of a structure, so that that does not become a burden on you. Is that what you are proposing, or you are proposing you should not have a tax at all? Because that's different than, like, saying that when we can defer the tax incident and align it with the sale.
Yeah.
You are stocking as a convenience or as a kind of an option of, like, improving the service.
Yeah.
So what is your solution you are proposing? Because it's a very valid problem for many machinery manufacturers.
So we also have some requests to keep the spare part in the bonded warehouse, but it will take time to do the custom clearance and to delivery it to the end user. It will take around 2 weeks. So it will be late and we'll stop the
From
machinery.
bonded warehouse, the release process takes 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. So
But that's
we will
certainly,
try.
like, we can propose, I think, like, because
Yes.
that's a very valid thing.
Now we have to pay and we do something and we show to the government to get some support from them, and then it will helpful for Africa processor.
Right. Is there any other request from the government which you want?
No, India, in the tax duty and fees for the import spare part, yeah, we are okay for that. So
Right.
it's fine.
Sashi.
Not every machinery manufacturer will be as lucky as him, where his better half really runs the factory to tell how good his machine is. Okay, so that said, we have had fantastic support from the industry, especially the Indian industry, the Mangalore segment specifically to target on, who have actually coached, trained a significant amount of our team to be able to understand the need and then develop a product that actually matches their need. Okay, so
What more you need from them? You say that when whatever you wanted, you got it, or you are some more expectation from the processes?
yeah, of course, I mean, any thing provided, still there is something that can be done. Is
Like you talked about this enzyme technology, you want them to co-invest? I just wanted
Yeah.
to,
So one
prompt.
option is in the co-investing, that is always in the card. Okay. Another thing is, from 15 years, the cashew industry has moved from completely manual to more or less automated. So significant amount of knowledge is required for people operating the factory, people operating the machinery, the safety, the security, and also in terms of maintenance management of machinery, which is very different from maintenance management of human resources. So the skill that has been developed by the cashew industry for about 100 years, trying to put people in its place and then operate, is completely redundant now, and new thought process of how I will have very skilled people I can engage and ensure all my machinery do their best job. So how are we going to have training centers where highly qualified engineers from good reputed college would come, learn about cashew machinery, and then ensure cashew factories run successfully? So this is going to be the new challenge for the industry going forward, because more and more AI, more and more technology, more and more evolved processes are going to come, and that is going to be the need for the industry, where we are thinking we need the industry to support us do such education program. We do run training programs, but we believe the industry should be able to support us do more of that and well.
Second part, what you expect from the government? Be brief, if it is possible.
I think government should basically enable the industry at a big fund level. For example, there is board for biotechnology, which has a grant of 1,500 crores. Okay, so and so much of research is happening in biotechnology in that space. There is agri-technology, more than 1,000 crores has been allocated for research. how it's being utilized for Cashew, how there is a process by which it can be approached by the Cashew industry to get such funding for industry level research and benefit. How we can do that as a joint activity rather than as a individual activity by a missionary developer can be the need.
So
How
you
we
need
can
support
approach.
from the government more
How
on
we can
the
approach
R&D aspect.
on the R&D aspect, yes, absolutely, yes.
Thank you. Vasant.
Yeah, I agree with Sashi. The current need of any manufacturer is a skilled worker or skilled operator. So industry also requires operator to operate the machine, and we as a manufacturer, we require a highly skilled technician to install, do maintenance and train the operator. This can be done through associations like ICA in India is there. So we can have a common training centers over there wherein specific departments can be trained and operators can be developed over there. Second thing would be, we need, as a manufacturer, we need data in terms of the industry across India. What are the parameters of getting good boiling, good peeling, good grading? What is the moisture level? Geographically, the moisture level across India changes. So the processing time, the peeling time, the curing time, everything changes. So we need the data. So if the data are available, it will be very, very easy for us to develop a customized or a homogeneous manufacturing system for the industry. And third would be, that would not be possible for the industry, but we as a manufacturer would insist to reduce the GST on the machines. It is currently 18% for the Indian domestic market. So it would be at par at say 5% as in for the ASEAN.
What about from the government? Do you have any request for the government, or as a technology provider, do you require any support from the government, or you're happy with the current level of support? It's okay. We will get back. Mr. Reddy, very shortly. So far, what kind of support you have extended as a processor? And very shortly, like if you can share your experience and what you feel could be more we can do together.
First thing, I will completely agree with Shashi's and Vasant's viewpoint. For example, when 15 to 18 years back, 100 tons, 100 bags factory is supposed to be the largest factory, where hardly you can find even fitter or a diploma holder or nothing called engineers. So when we transformed from that time, 25 horsepower was the connecting load of a factory. Today, mechanical factories are running from 1 megawatt capacity to 2 megawatt capacities. So there's a huge transformation happened on the technical side from moving from 25 horsepower to 1 megawatt factories. So to that extent, whether we have a fitters, electricians, engineers, so that's very, very important for any processor. They are the one who can really ensure that the timely maintenance of the plants, and they will the one who reduce your oil contaminations and running through the plants very effectively. So looking into that particular perspective, you can just do a deep dive. The plants who are running very successfully of mechanization, please ensure, and you can go and find that they might be having a strong technical team. So the day you respect that technical teams are very much integral part of the Cashew automation, definitely you will not face these challenges of maintenance. Definitely we have to understand the concern of the machine manufacturers also. For every small thing, we cannot call them overnight, ask them to drop within 24 hours and rectify my machine. So definitely that is the area where industry has to understand the importance of the technical teams will be integral part of your processing. Yeah.
Yeah, we have completely run out of time, but one last question based on, there's no standardization amongst the technology suppliers. Just loud thinking. Is it time that all the technology providers should form an association and talk something about standardizing? You see that one is possible at all? Just yes or no? Or give some time, maybe 2 years down the line or 3 years down the line, or it's a good thought process? Something.
Actually,
because somebody has asked about standardization. I think it's a very valid point.
in the last so many years, in the manufacturing machinery market, we don't have any standard. So it's not able to compare about the quality, the brand, the price, and the cost. Because that will impact to the final production cost of the processor. So we are trying to improve the quality, make our name to be strong, and we are very clear about the profit of the spare part and how we can improve the time life of the machine, and then
The thing is that, like, some kind of uniformity or standardization, if that is a possibility at all. Yeah. I understood. Yeah, you want quick comment? We will just, we are run out of time, just maybe like, half a minute here, please. Possible?
possible, but we need time like in the car industry. You
Yes.
see, it's
Sure,
so
sir.
so many years.
Thank you. Shashi?
Standardization on machinery is not going to be possible. It should not also be insisted upon because it will curb innovation and it will restrict the processors from getting better technologies. And if we, for example, standardize nanosorter as the standard for grading, there would not be any other machine that would be innovated or coming in the industry.
There are
at all.
various ways
So-
of going about standardization. I'm not getting into like,
so
how to
primarily
go
what
about
I'm saying
it.
is the machinery people
Is
will
there
have
a
to
broad
be
understanding?
led to evolve, led to invent, led to create new things. That is when the industry technology will grow. We are not yet so matured enough where we can standardize technology for cashew processing yet.
Correct. Yes.
There are two aspects in this. One thing could be no single machine manufacturer can supply entire project to a single company, because that is not his specialty. I may be specialize in grading, I may be specialized in peeling, but I can't do cutting, everything I can't do. So there should be a common platform wherein, I can source everything from all and supply good plant to a buyer. That could be my point of view. Second would be, if there are some key points which I have identified in any process, that should be shared among my colleagues or my industry. So maybe like if in cutting, there are some process which can be evolved, but that is not my core area. I can share it to CMV or Vietmol or any expert company on that. So they can think on that, they can develop a better process or better machine on that, and that can benefit to the industry. So there could be a possibility of linkage of sharing of information to the other manufacturers.
Mr. J.C. Reddy, have you ever felt absence of standards has caused some problem? Just in half a minute, like, yes, no, I think,
So what Shashi is saying, that's true. Standardization of, because first of all, the cashew kernel itself is not standardized in India. The first challenge you have.
Yeah, I understand, but many agri-produce also have that
So
kind of
we are not even
characteristic.
expecting that is going to happen anytime in future.
Thank you. I think that sums up, and we are completely run out of time. There are so many questions. Thank you so much for engaging with us. Give a round of applause to our excellent panelists. Hope you enjoyed this conversation. They'll be available after this. You can catch up with them. Many of these questions are still very important. I'm sorry, like I'm not able to handle many of them, but you can always touch base with them. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Srivatsava, sir, for also sticking to the timelines and riding a tight ship. Ladies and gentlemen, our session's moderator, Mr. Srivatsava, is now invited to present a memento to all our panelists.